So hi everyone, so I'm Romain Calasibeta and I will show you software that we developed 1 year ago. So Bob, an universal peer-to-peer file transfer in OCaml. So the program is available on the website and let's start with a demo. So you just need to download the Bob binary, and after you just need to drag and drop the file you want to send, and Bob gives you a little password. And the receiver just need to double-click on the Bob binary. He just need to put the password, and he receives the file. So it's really straightforward just to share some file between two persons. What is really interesting is actually Bob works on Windows, Mac, and Linux, and it's exactly the same binary. We don't try to build for Windows, for Mac, or for Linux. So I know that someone will be happy about that. How to do that? You need to make a Windows executable. And so as you can see, you see the magic number of Windows. So Bob.com run natively on Windows. And for Linux, Mac, and BSD, this system considers Bob.com as a shell script. And from this shell script, we can start to launch some command and recognize the host system, and particularly the architecture, if it's a FreeBSD, NetBSD, etc., etc. And if it's Linux, for instance, we just emit the magic code for the Linux program, so the ELF. And for Mac, we just need to make a new file, put the magic code for Mac, and execute this new file, which is in the temporary directory. So at this stage, we are able to run any assembly code in any platform, and we use the advantage of fat binary to run x86-64 and ARM64 program. So we just need to compile twice the program and just concatenate the assembly code, and after it's just about jumping on the right assembly code. But we now have another issue. It's like we need to interact with the system. So we need to think about how to interact with any system that we want. So for the Windows case, because we run natively, we just need to load what is needed to communicate with the Windows kernel. And we would like to provide like a sys5 API, something close to the sys5 API from Windows. So sys5 is really old, but on the other side, the sys5 API is already provided by the other system. But the value expected to communicate with the kernel is different for each system. So for instance, you have few value, and each value corresponds to each system, and what we do, it's like at the boot of the program, we will inject the value depending on the system. So if it's a BSD, we will inject the value for BSD and so on. And on top of that, we can start to make a libc. So we start to reach the sky and make an actually portable executable with C. But we are in the OCaml workshop, so the question now, it's about OCaml. And for OCaml, it's pretty straightforward. It's like we just take the compiler and we just try to explain to the compiler that the link step is different than what is usual. So instead to use LD, we will use the actually portable executable linker. And we would like to compile the libasm run.a, so the camel runtime, with our libc. And of course, at the end, we would like to statically link everything. And so we just need to provide another toolchain. So it's not pretty new to do that. We already did that for 10 years ago with unikernel, because it's the same things. I mean, we want to make operating system, we want to statically link everything, and we want to link with another libc that's the host libc, so the no libc, for instance, for unikernel. And at this stage, we are able to produce a actually portable executable, and you can check that on the Esperanto project. So Bob is not only portable, it's about how to share a file between two persons. So the question is how to check that two persons has the same password. So we will use the SPAC2 plus EE protocol. We have like 30 protocols for this, but this one is good. I will just explain a little bit the protocol. So Alice and Bob have the same password. Alice will try to generate a salt and generate a 4 value, M, N, K, and L, send the salt to Bob, and Bob will generate an elliptic curve point from the M value, so the name is X. Bob will send X, and Alice will do the same, but with the N value, and she will send also the Y to Bob. And both of them will try to infer the Gx for Alice and the Gy for Bob from the X and the Y they received. And from all of that, we will try to generate a bunch of values, so especially Z and V, and we just need to concatenate this value and split out the result to 4 parts. And what is interesting is we need to send now the VA on one side and the VB on the other side. And all of them need just to check that the VB received is actually the same VB that I calculated. And if it's done, we can say that the N check is done. So if we come back to OCaml, we can express all of these packets via this ADT. So as you can see, you have the salt, the X, and the Y, and validator to check the agreement. But it's not only like one Alice want to send a document to Bob, it's like multiple Alices want to send multiple documents to multiple Bob. So it's like you need to have a place, a rendezvous place. So we talk about a relay. So we need to extend a bit the protocol to be able to recognize each people in this rendezvous place. As you can see, I put in comment some constraints. It's a comment, but we can say that, for instance, the hello as Alice is a packet which comes from Alice, and the destination of this packet is for the relay. And we actually can gedit that. We just need to put some type and put some constraints, so that's free. But what is really interesting is, like, if I take the protocol, Alice will never talk to another Alice, and Bob will never talk to another Bob. Alice will talk to Bob and will talk to the relay, but we have a kind of duality between Alice and Bob. So what we can do is, like, we encode this duality in GADT, and by this way we can say that Bob should receive only packets that the destination is for Bob, and it's the same for Alice. And as you can see, OCaml is able to check the exhaustivity of the pattern matching. Instead to have 9 cases for the protocol, we have only 4 cases for Bob and 3 cases for Alice. The relay is a bit much more complex because it's like you want to receive some packets, so the special hello packet from Bob and Alice. And the last case, it's only transmitting a packet through the relay. So when Alice wants to talk to Bob, she wants to talk to Bob through the relay. So it's like we just need to put this case of transmitting packets. So we don't care about the packet. And actually, if we really care, the X value is factually the opposite, so the non-X. So if X is Alice, non-X is Bob. And the GADT can say that. So we talk about incoming packets, how to process them. So let's start to talk about how to send packet. So we just need to extend the constraints and say that, okay, we just, Bob should send only packets that the source is Bob, the same for Alice, and the relay has the same with the transmission case again. So at this step, we have the protocol implementation, and now it's about the relay. So that's the last role on the transmission. And the relay is obviously an unique kernel. So it's only 3 megabytes. And so we don't have a file system, we don't have shell, we don't have SSH, we have nothing. We have just a TCP IP stack, and we just talk in the Bob protocol. So by this way, we delete all the side channel attack possible for any system, because we cannot do nothing else than talk with the Bob protocol to the relay. So you can you can launch the unikernel via this command with Solo5. So Solo5 is a tender. It's like the bridge between the unikernel and the host system. So when the relay wants to send or receive a TCP/IP packet, it will ask to Solo5, and Solo5 will ask to the host system. Of course, we have developed a tool for that. The name is Albatros, if you want to deploy many unikernel as you want. You can also deploy the relay on the Google Cloud platform if you want. And you can do that on the smallest instance of Google Cloud. And even the smallest instance is really big for such a unikernel. And of course, I deployed the relay on my side, on my server, ozo.ri. So Bob is also a compression algorithm. So for instance, if you want to send 15 gigabytes of documentation, we will try to compress that to 250 megabytes. So the ratio is big. So 50 gigabytes, 200 megabytes. So it's a compression à la Git. We do exactly the same. We use an internal DNS resolver, and by default, we use the uncensoreddns.org, which is against the censorship. Also, the bob.com, the binary, and the relay are reproducible. That mostly means that if you want to build by yourself this program, you will get exactly the same result as us, byte per byte. So it's available on build.ozo.ri. And you don't have transfer limit, so if you want to share the last season of The Ring of the Power, you can, for example. And for the next things, we would like to be able to send the file in the anonymous way via the Tor network. So the pull request is available, but it changed a bit the protocol, and we would like to finish another feature. It's like resume a failed transmission. So if you failed, you can resume and just do what is missing for the transmission. We would like to also take the advantage of capabilities and sandbox from the host system. So seccomp for Linux and pledge for OpenBSD. It's mostly to say that, okay, Bob will not try to do something weird on your system and will just make some bunch of file. And for the local network, we would like to implement the norm protocol. So it's like a TCP over UDP protocol to share the document over the local network. So I would like to thank to Justine Tenay, who made the Cosmopolitan and the Actually Portable executable. It was really pleasant to work with her, and she is aware about the OCaml and the Esperanto project, and we tried to fix together some bug. Arma Elgeno, because we did the idea of how to transmit a file together the last years. He asked me to share a unikernel, and we did not get, we are not able to share a unikernel, but now it should be done. And the Robur Cooperative, of course, because they let me to work on that for 3-4 months, and they also participate. And so if you like what the cooperative does, you can donate and give us some tips. And of course, thank you for listening to me. And if you have any question.
Hey, so I've implemented most of the BitTorrent protocol on OCaml, and there's like some things in that spec that just kind of suck. So I'm wondering whether you've thought at all about extending something like this to be distributed, distributed like BitTorrent.
So actually, it's not really distributed. It's like peer-to-peer. So after we have a question about conflict between like two people as probably we have a probability that two people has the same password than some other. So of course the password is generated randomly. As you can see, we generate here the password. And after it's just like, okay, we check that they share the same password, so we can generate some cryptographic key and just send the file directly to the destination. So it's really peer-to-peer.
But you're not interested in extending it to be something distributed?
So actually, that's a kind of idea for the UDP protocol. I would like to take the advantage of the copy of packet on the UDP level to share to somewhere else. But yeah, we need to, to implement the UDP layer.
Is there any hope to have the same executable for different architecture, like x86 and ARM?
Yes. Actually, it's like we just, as I said, we just need to compile for ARM64 and x86-64, and we just concatene all of that. So the binary is like about says 16 megabytes, but so it's a bit huge. But yeah, after it's actually portable, executable.
How does that work when the two Alice and Bobs are both behind a NAT or something like that? Does that go through NAT?
Does that go?
Can you do some hole punching, or how do you actually do the peer-to-peer connection?
It's like just a transmission through the relay.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like when the agreement is done between peers, the relay allocate a secure room. But again, the relay does not really care about what is going on and does not have any information about the key on both sides. So after, we just need to encrypt on one side, encrypt on the other side, and for the relay, it's just like a bunch of bytes that you need to transmit from one side to another. But again, the UDP, the big thing about the UDP is to delete the relay and be sure that we can share without the relay.
Thanks, Romain, again, and Armel has a few words for us.